Story time on how my mom told me she wished she never had me. Okay, so boom, jumping right in. Question, you ever had a mom who loved you, motivated you, and respected you? Yeah, well, can't say the same for me. My mom is a single mother that had me at a young age and is currently in college. But the thing is, my mom hates me. And you know why she hates me? Because I have a relationship with my dad. She's mentally abusive and sometimes physical. She tells me how she's disgusted with me and how I should worship her since she brought me into this world, and when I was younger she tried to get me to hate my dad and even use me as a weapon against my dad, but my dad ended up putting himself on child support and doing shared custody. Well, I had a birthday party when I was turning 16 and my dad paid for everything. My mom kind of just showed up, and on my birthday I was about to hear one of the most hurtful things a mother can say to their daughter. Like for part 2 on how my mom told me she wished she never had me. Okay, so boom, like I said, I was turning 16 and my dad threw me a birthday party where he paid for everything. And my mom kind of just showed up. She gave me really bad energy and I tried to ignore it, but later that night I walked into the restroom looking for my mom and she was in there with her friend. And that's when I heard her say that she should have aborted me and that she wished she never had me. I cried my eyes off and my mom didn't even care when she found out. My dad ended up getting full custody and I haven't seen or spoken to my mom ever since. Now I'm at a better place and I'm happy living with my dad and my loving stepmother and sister. Sometimes someone hurt is so deep rooted it places hatred on people who's undeserving. She hated my dad for leaving but for staying with me. And that's something that she's eventually gonna have to come to terms with. But I refuse to let her bring me down. Now I'm loved, happy, and elevated. Stay blessed, y'all.
Story. My pickiest client. So this one time I had this one client, let's just name her Tracy. And the first thing I like to do is show my clients all the colors I have so they can start picking it out. Now Tracy was very picky. Out of all my 200 colors, she couldn't pick a single color. And then she requested if we can mix up a couple colors so she can basically create her own color. Me being nice, I was like, okay, that's fine. I thought she was gonna make me mix one color, but we ended up mixing 5 custom colors for her, which took a lot of time. Not only that, but she wanted a different design on each finger. And obviously this is gonna be a little pricey because not only did it take about 5 hours, and also me mixing all my material led me to wasting a lot of it. At the end of the service, she refused to pay the full amount, and her reasoning was that we grew up together and went to the same school, and then said I could use her for practice. So I clipped her nails off.
When I was a child, I had a teacher who used to terrorize me for being more girlier than the rest of the boys in the class. She used to say awful things to me like, I can't act a certain way because I'm not a girl, or pink can't be my favorite color, I need to pick a boy color, or stop hanging out with so many girls, you need to hang out with the little boys. And for a long time, I didn't tell anybody. I let this lady pick on me for way too long. I eventually did tell, but that's a story time for another day. Anyways, one day around Halloween, she thought it would be fun to bring every single kid in the class a costume to wear for the day. Now, that sounded like fun until she started handing everybody their costumes, and when she got to me, she pulled out a fairy costume. And then she was like, well, since you always act like a fairy, I thought this costume would be appropriate for you. And me being a kid, I didn't even understand what she was trying to say to me. But the joke ended up being on her because I actually liked the costume, and so did all the little girls and boys in my class.
Story time! My cheapest client. As a beginner nail tech, I let a lot of things slide. And I feel like I was just too nice, and sometimes things can be my fault. But anyways, let's get into the story. At this point, I've been doing nails for at least like 5 months. And I had this one new client book with me. Everything was going smooth until they showed up. And they brought their own materials. By materials, I mean like rhinestones, gel polish, acrylic powder. Basically everything I needed to do her nails. And I never know how to say no because I'm a nice person and people scare me low-key. So I agreed and I'm like, okay, we can use these to do your nails. Everything was going fine. And she had all types of different designs on each nail, which took a lot of time. And she was extremely picky on where she wanted her designs. And the set probably took me around 4 hours. And at the end, her nails came out just how she wanted. And she refused to pay me because it was her materials, so I took her nails off.
Why does the entirety of the Denver International Airport have barbed wire facing inwards? Almost like a prison, it's trying to keep something in. The Denver International Airport is home to so many conspiracy theories. I went there several times within my own traveling, and whether you believe the conspiracy theories or not, it is so hard to argue that the entire airport is not suspicious. DIA was built as a replacement to the Stapleton Airport, even though nothing was wrong with the airport before. It was supposed to be done in 1993, but it didn't end until 1995, the final budget being $4.8 billion. And if you guys don't know this, that exceeds normal airport price. And to put it into even more perspective, this airport and its grounds are bigger than Manhattan. So what was the purpose of making it so big and expensive? The builders for the DIA worked under multiple contractors, so it's rumored that no one knows the true scope of this project. But maybe the architects wanted it this way. It's filled with strange markings, underground tunnels, and apocalyptic themes. So the first thing that I'm going to be starting with is Blucifer. I feel like a lot of people already know about this demon-eyed horse that stands out in front. The reason that Blucifer got his name, his actual name is just Blue Mustang, was because he ended up killing his creator. As he was building, the head ended up falling off, hitting his leg, cutting into an artery. And to add to the creepiness, it has red glowing eyes whenever you look at it from a certain angle. So everyone in Colorado pretty much just refers to it as Blucifer. Many people think that the red eyes are a nod to the four horsemen of the apocalypse, but an artist said it's just to honor the wild spirit of the American West. Weird. Also in the front of the airport, there's a tile with a picture of a cart on it. In the cart, it says AUAG, like for silver and gold. But some people think that this is referring to a deadly strain of hepatitis called Australian antigen, which is believed to be a part of biological warfare. And while I originally thought that this was kind of far, the man who discovered Australian antigen was actually a part of the team that founded the airport. And there's more that stays on this apocalyptic theme. Welcome to the next part of Denver International Airport. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the Great Hall. In there is a plaque with the dedication for the airport on there, and they dedicated it to the New World Airport Commission, which is an organization that doesn't even exist or has ever existed. So why would this even be a dedication? Under this capstone, there is a time capsule. This is set to be open in 2094, but no one knows what's inside of it. There's symbols and markings in this said to be dedicated to the Freemasons. A lot of people also say that from an aerial view, the airport looks like a swastika. But honestly, I don't really think it's noticeable unless you're really, really looking for it. And the other things is the creepy murals. These were designed by Leo Tanguma. One is called World Dream of Peace, and the other is in peace and harmony with nature. However, they're depicting themes of death and again, apocalyptic times. I'm pretty sure a soldier stabbing a dove means the exact opposite of peace. And there's literally children in caskets, but don't worry, it doesn't stop there. Welcome back to Denver International Airport. So the next thing we're going to do is talk about the tunnels. There are 6 underground layers and possibly more. And it's thought that the tunnels that exist underneath go all the way from Colorado Springs Air Force Base to the Air Force Base on Cheyenne Mountain. There's theorized to be bunkers down here and that it's potentially made as a safe place for the world's elite during the apocalypse. A huge part of this theory lies with author Alex Christopher. She met some people at a conference in Denver who were able to take her down to the tunnels. She took her friend Phil Schneider with her. And down there, they were able to get pictures. I'll insert them here. But not long after this, Schneider apparently unalived himself, which again, after coming out with this information, is extremely suspicious. Also, there was 5 buildings that were originally built for the airport but didn't quite work out. So instead of destroying these buildings, they just buried them and then continued to build on top of them. Even the constructor was very confused on why he was requested to do this. So because of this, how do we know how many extra buildings or hangars there are? And what exactly are the specific conspiracy theories surrounding this apocalyptic themed airport?